Welcome back to this week's Creative Lines and Techniques, brought to you by PureMoto.com. Watch Jet as he doesn't use any brakes around this corner after the finish line. Total coast and acceleration. He is not on that rear brake. Boom. He's got his finger on the lever for the front brake, but he's not using it either. And his foot, he just sits down, transitions, no brakes, can't go slow. This next clip by Hunter Yoder. We all know that he's got a fast bike. We had his motor builder on my podcast a couple weeks ago. We know that it's a stock bike, however, or legal bike. Watch the 508 of Hunter Yoder, and I want you to pay attention to his clutch hand. So, boom, there's a power shift. Right here. Did you see him transition his feet to get on the brakes as he's pulling in the clutch? Transitioning feet, pulls in the clutch, boom. Slowing down to go around the corner and basically gets the whole shot. My question is he actually like reverse power shifting, trying to create this motor into more of a slipper clutch scenario where not only is he using the clutch to power shift up, but to prevent the bike from having any engine braking going into the first corner, he's actually using the clutch to shift down. Very, very intriguing. And one of the riders that I feel have an amazing start technique is Ken Roczen. And he busts out a different rhythm than anyone I've seen with a giant quad after his hole shot. So he is this rider right here. Perfect gait as far as you're not too far away from the inside box. Anything out here is you're just using so much more track to get around to try to pass these guys. You have to have absolutely perfect technique, which we'll talk about later on in the video. But as we watch Kenny come in here, he's using his technique, almost the Atlanta foot dab technique, but he actually doesn't dab that foot. It's there though. But watch him as he doubles, and then this giant quad. Only rider I saw do this all night long. And look at how that bike just soaked that up. I would have been terrified to case that tabletop because you would have been tattooing yourself to the face of the next jump. And that bike just rock crawled right over it. I'm always a big fan of options. And this outside really didn't give different line choices for riders because of how much further you had to go and how you had to like bounce up on top of stuff. However, I digress because the inside, you had many different lines. You could do Kenny's table to triple to double to Cooper's triple, double, double to the 250s, double, double, triple in here. And Cooper's line, yes, is it slower at the beginning, but it's faster at the end because look at how high he is right now. But as he goes through the scenario, he is doubling what is really a takeoff for the 250s. And look at how low and how much speed he carries into the corner. We want to look at Ken Roczen. Not only is he really not using his brakes, you can see right here, boom, he shifts up to get ready for the whoops. Now he coasts through this corner and stays on top of him. But I want you to watch how fast his transition is at the end here. Look at this. Boom, boom, boom. He is on his toes, which is perfect because then you have a few extra inches in case that bike is going to kick you in the whoops, because you should always enter the whoops on your toes. But watch how he slides forward to get onto those brakes. Just very subtle. He's still in the whoops, but he bounces off the second to last one. Boom. Transitions to that rear brake. Wow, remarkable. Remarkable how fluid these guys make this look. Don't get left behind. Have perfect technique like Kenny and head over to PureMoto.com. Search over 1.3 million items currently in stock and over 200 retailers. It's easy. Go to product search, type in what you are looking for. Once you find it, you look for the size, the color you want. You can look to see where it is locally, and you can place it on hold so you don't have to get left behind. Make sure to stop at PureMoto.com. If you watched my crash analysis video yesterday, we talked about how fast the seat bounce was across the start. And watch how hard Tomac has to pull up to make this triple. Boom, massive seat bounce, but look, he's basically in a boner air, and watch him tap that rear brake to lock that front end to try to get that front end down so that he has enough distance to clear it, but he was trying to make as much lift as possible. I don't think people realize how hard that seat bounce triple was, and Tomac just proves it. Factory bike and still trying to get everything out of it. Anstie, hole shot from the outside in the 250 main event. Partially due to the conditions, a lot of riders were probably concerned with coming in straight and how slippery it was. They don't want to go down first lap in a mud race. That's what you never want to do. I think it's kind of ironic that none of the 250 guys really had handguards, and you had Barcia, who won the main event, was really the only 450 factory guy that had handguards. But however, I digress. Let's watch him get a good start from the outside. Gets the good gate, and because he's on the outside, he's able to roll into the first corner, where, like I said, a lot of these guys on the inside have to be more cautious because they don't want to instantly just RJ Hampshire it, what happened on the last lap, and just slide out completely, wash out both the front and rear end. So he's able to almost coast in and test it out like, woo, just because of the lean angle he has. A lot of the riders had to brake increasingly harder than what Max did just because of the angle of what he was coming at. He had the road racing line outside in. I don't really think he would have been able to get the whole shot if this was a dry condition. Further into the 250 main, we saw Jet Lawrence. You can't really tell who he is because of all the mud. However, watch him in the option section where he decides to not sit down. He just stands up on the outside, just rails the outside standing up using less energy. I thought that was impressive and just strategic as well, because you know these bikes get heavier as the race goes on because of how much mud gets packed in. Mud races are some of my funnest races to actually watch because you always have a few riders that just step up where other guys, they just want to finish the race. And you don't have this discrepancy in a traditional type setting. Because of the top riders were still doing the rhythms, they were able to lap up to fourth place, which was crazy. But that's because here, this is Barcia out front, still making the finish line, which he's barely making it. That bike soaks it up, and you know that bike is 350 pounds because of all the mud. And then you have Ken Roczen not quadding what he did in the previous, about probably 5-6 minutes ago inside this video, but he's able to double and triple on the tabletop still in the mud. This is how these guys differentiated themselves from the rest of the field, which is crazy. And also in the mud, it's much easier to go fast than it is to go slow. The slower you are, the more hesitant you become because that bike is maneuvering more. It's interesting, but it is incredibly true. Your confidence builds as you go faster in the mud and you don't crash. That is the end of the video. If you like these, make sure you stop on your way out. Hit that subscribe button like I know a lot of you are doing. Helps out a bunch. Sincerely appreciate it. Hang out for the live show on Fridays at noon Pacific time. And hit a comment. This is Johnny F. and Hopper. Till next time, keep it WFO. Ba-ra-da-da-da-da-oh.